Okay, forgive the craziness here as we get all settled back in. A couple of things. One tweet coming in. Let me see if I can find the name of the person who sent it. This Patty Lee asking, what is St. Louis doing to encourage more women to be entrepreneurs? What are we doing to get women into this space that we're talking about here tonight? As we look around the table, we have 3 seats filled by women, and the fact you mentioned it earlier, the fact that whatever the percentages are, we have a name for underrepresented minorities. What are we doing on both of those fronts? We'll start maybe kind of at the secondary level.
We really work hard to try to recruit the girls and students of color to these fields, and it's difficult because the role models for many of the students are limited, but just kind of exposing them and letting them see through different activities that these are options. We're getting a little bit more going with that, and we're seeing that throughout high schools in the area, that we're getting more interest at that lower level. So hopefully we'll see that generate up.
I'm sure we're losing out on ideas if we're not asking everyone to the party.
You're absolutely right, and we won't be able to address that critical workforce shortage if we aren't bringing in those who've been traditionally underrepresented. In terms of women, I think the role models is critical. There's data that show that there's fewer women coming into the STEM disciplines in those areas where there are not female role models. So in particular, what communities do not have those female role models. And so I think we have to do a very good job of highlighting the very successful women who are here in our city and our region, and really have that pay attention to seeing that people make those connections. For example, at Missouri S&T, we have 16 summer camps to get people interested in science and technology and leadership. Some of those are focused purely on women. It's a girl thing, eco girl, ways to really show what impact you can have. You can have some impact on the environment, for example. So one of the other things I think that's important is to have that as hands-on activities, because for both women and underrepresented minorities, they actually are able to benefit even more from having those opportunities to gain the confidence in themselves and in their capabilities.
So Don and I have been working together on this issue a little bit. At Cortex, at the Center for Emerging Technologies, we have a boot camp called the Square One Boot Camp. And it's a 10-week boot camp every fall. And we've been working with Don and BioSTL in recruiting more women. So it's an on-ramp for first-time entrepreneurs. And this past year, we had 34 folks enrolled in that boot camp. And we had 13 women, so it was first-time entrepreneurs. So for us, that was a record. And we collaborated with BioSTL to do that. Also, we collaborated with BioSTL to try to recruit more minority entrepreneurs, first-time entrepreneurs as well. So intentional efforts, very important, and sticking to it. It's not an easy task, not an easy road, but we're beginning to see some fruits. Not enough, but some fruits.
Yeah, I'll just mention a couple of other formal efforts. An organization called Missouri Cures hosts now an annual Women in Science symposium, partnering with universities, the corporations in the community, and this role model issue is very important. So people who are very accomplished scientists participate in that, and that role model piece is very important. In addition to that, there is a relatively new angel group focusing just on women called the Prosper Group. It's women investors helping, mentoring, and investing in women-owned startups. So that's a very important piece. And then BioSTL has an overall bioscience inclusion initiative that started about a year ago, where we are trying to build more women and minority entrepreneurs by first starting with an awareness issue. It's a tremendous awareness issue, and sometimes that alone is a barrier that individuals don't there's a mystique about technology companies, and quite often an individual doesn't have to be a PhD in science to be able to lead and be part of a startup, of a technology startup. So the awareness piece, then the training piece, like that Dennis talked about, and then connecting these individuals to the resources, to the networks, the people who have capital, the people who can mentor them, the people who have the facilities. Not everyone knows about all the things that are happening in this community, and being able to make that accessible and remove barriers is important.
But it's really important to get to the girls while they're young. The choices about what careers you will be in, and importantly, which ones you think you are not in, are made very, very early. And we have a number of things where we take our scientists into the schools and do hands-on appropriate science. And a lot of our scientists are women, so they get those important role models, but they also get them at an age when they're really thinking about these careers as early as 3rd grade. We partner with girls groups like the Girl Scouts. There's a lot of girls activities at the Science Center, and really make sure that those girls see how fun science and engineering can be at an early stage before they decide it's not for them.
Sherry, I'll stick with you, but change the topic. Brian Felt, St. Louis Business Journal, who's been on the show talking about this very topic, but he's tweeting that more and more companies, we're talking a lot about startups, but more and more larger companies are opening innovation units. He's mentioning Boeing, AB, Wells Fargo, some are at Cortex, I believe Boeing. We have just a couple of seconds, and then we'll continue this conversation online. And that is important to larger
Of course, it's important for us to innovate very early ideas. We don't have an innovative unit, but we have a number of things in a variety of our departments. We also have a fellows program where we encourage our top scientists to do very early research and start new ideas.
I'll cut you off.